Hello, my dear children of class 8. Today we will learn from chapter 3 the different effects of torque, then what is pressure, and the two physical quantities on which pressure depends. So let's begin. So, children, come to page number 43 of your book. Now we will learn the common examples of torque. As mentioned earlier, it is difficult to tighten a screw with hand, whereas it is easily done with the help of a spanner. Spanner is actually doing the work of turning effect of a force. It is making our work much more easier. So this is the reason why a spanner is used, because it will make our work easier and we can take the advantage of turning effect of force. The distance between the pivoted point and the force gets increased when we use the spanner, and therefore the moment of the force becomes greater. Since the moment of the force is more, so we can easily turn the spanner and we can tighten the screw. Next, in number 2, we are having the opening and closing of doors with hinges is another example of turning effect of force. Twisting the lid to open or close a jar. Anything that is turning is just the example of turning effect of force. When you hold and turn a pencil inside a sharpener, you apply the turning effect of force. While driving a car, the driver applies force on the edges of the steering wheel to turn it. All these are examples of turning effect of force. These examples will come in give reasons, children. So please go through the examples very nicely. Question will come in give reasons. What type of questions I will give you in your notes. Next, let us move on to pressure. The numericals we will start after we have completed the theory portion of the chapter. Now, what is pressure? Pressure is defined as the force acting perpendicularly on a unit area of a surface. Okay, children, so what is pressure? Pressure is defined as the perpendicular force acting on a surface of unit area. As you can see, the force is perpendicular. Perpendicular means it is 90 degree. That is, the force is having a 90-degree angle with the surface. This is the surface. With the surface, it is having 90-degree angle. And this force that is acting like this is known as thrust. So, the force acting perpendicularly on a surface of unit area is known as pressure. This is the definition of pressure. So, pressure is denoted by force by area. Force is acting perpendicular on a surface and area is the surface area. Unit of force is Newton and unit of area is meter square. Therefore, the unit of pressure is Newton per meter square and is denoted by Pascal or capital PA. Therefore, we see that pressure is depending on two things. Number one, the force acting on the surface, the perpendicular force or the thrust. Number two, the area of the surface on which force is acting. Okay, children, consider this example. This is a pen. I am going to hold this pen like this. Okay. Now, the pointed tip is being forced into one finger and the blunt tip is being held by the other finger. Now, when I am applying force, what is happening is that I am feeling more pressure on this side, that is on the pointed side, compared to this side. Now, as you know, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So, if I am putting force from this end, then this end is also applying force. So both the side is having same amount of force, but the pressure felt is more in this side. As you can see, this is the situation. Now why is it happening like this? The reason behind that, this side is having a pointed end, so the area of contact is less. When area is less, then pressure will be more. Compared to this side, the area was more, the area of contact was more. When area of contact is more, then pressure will be less. So area less, pressure more. Area more, pressure less. When same amount of force is being given. So this is the situation for pressure, area and force. Now you will notice that with the same area, different pressures can be experienced depending on the force. When force is more, pressure is more. So pressure and force are directly related. That is, when one will be more, other one will be more, and when one will be less, the other one will be less. Compared to pressure and area, when pressure will be more, then area is less. Which area? The area of contact. That is, the force which is being applied on that area, surface area, that area is less. Next, when pressure will be more, then area is less, and when pressure will be less, area is more. Let us now go through some common examples of pressure. The most important one is number 2 and 3. Let's start with number 1 first. Have you ever noticed that in a desert or a beach, your feet go deep into the sand when you stand? However, on the other hand, if you lie down on the sand, your body does not go into the sand that deep. This you have maybe experienced, all of you. Although the force exerted by your body is same, its effect is different because area of contact on which the force acts is different. Area of our feet is less. So in that time, when area is less, pressure will be more. So there will be more pressure, and that is the reason why we feel like we are going inside the sand. But when we are lying down on the sand, then area of contact is more. The force exerted by our body is same. When we are standing, then also whatever our weight is, when we will lie down, then also our weight will be same. Weight here, force is equals to weight of the body. So when we are lying down, the area of contact is more. Since the area of contact is being more, therefore the pressure exerted at that time will be less. In number 2, the feet of a person wearing hiking boots will sink in snow because of the pressure exerted by them. In order to walk on snow properly, we need to wear snowshoes. These have a wide base with large area that reduces the pressure and prevents feet from sinking into the snow. Number 3 is very important. Pressure exerted by the narrow heel of a shoe. All the girls are familiar with heel shoes or narrow shoes. The pressure exerted by a narrow heel of a shoe is more than that of a shoe with wide base. Therefore, if a person is wearing a narrow heel shoe accidentally steps on you, it will hurt you more compared to a shoe with a wider base. You have seen this in maximum times when we are traveling by public transport. If accidentally a person wearing a heel shoe steps on you, then we really get a huge amount of pain, because the narrow heel is having very less area of contact. So whatever the weight exerted by the person will be felt more, because the pressure will be more since the area of contact is less. But in the same manner, if the same person is wearing flat heels or any flat kind of shoes, then since the area is more, then the pressure exerted will be less at that time. Please go through examples 4 and 5. Example 5 is also important. Example 5 says school bags or shopping bags have broad straps to reduce the pressure exerted by the heavy bags on the shoulders. This you can feel yourself, because if you are carrying lots of books and copies, and suppose your shoulder straps are very thin, then what happens, the weight of the books or the entire weight of the bag feels very much heavy to you. Although if the same amount of books and copies were put into a bag which is having larger straps, larger broader shoulder straps, then the pressure exerted would have been less, because at that time area of contact would be more with your shoulder. So the force exerted, although will be same, the pressure felt will be less. Since area is becoming more, so pressure will become less. Camels have broad feet. These feet exert very less pressure on the sand, and therefore camels' feet do not sink into it. This allows them to travel long distances and even run in deserts. See the adaptations, how God has made everything that is adjustable with that particular environment. More correctly said, this is the kind of adaptation they have adapted to the environment in which they are living. If the camel's feet were narrow, then the camel would have sunk into the desert sand. Heavy vehicles in number 7, this is also important. Foundations of high rise buildings are kept very wide so that the weight of the building does not cause it to sink due to the pressure. The high rise building, the very tall buildings which are having very tall buildings are having wide bases. The reason behind that is the weight of the building will not create huge amount of pressure on the ground, because when area of the base will be more, then area of contact becoming more will result in less amount of pressure of the building on the ground. Number 8, heavy vehicles that carry loads such as trucks and buses have thick wide wires, tires, to prevent them from sinking into the ground because of the weight. Small vehicles such as cars have smaller and thin tires. Edges of cutting tools such as knives and blades and axes are also sharpened before use. The sharp edge is having very small area of contact, so the pressure exerted with the same force will be more. So with our convenience we are changing the area of contact so that the pressure exerted in the cases will be more or less depending on our use. So that is all for today. Hope you have understood. Please go through the examples, the definitions of pressure, and we will continue with the remaining part of the chapter in our next class. Thank you, children.